All right, hello everybody. This is Brittany Watkins and welcome to Learn My Secrets to Overcome Emotional Eating. I'm really excited to be here with you live today and to do some tapping with you. I actually did this on Thursday and I forgot to record the session, so I'm really happy to be back here on a Saturday doing this again. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to just open up the phone lines in a minute because it feels a little awkward. Like I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself because I can't really get a sense of you. I mean, I can see your names on my screen, but I can't really get a sense of you. So I'm going to open up the phone lines really quick and I just want everybody to go, hi. Okay. So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3. That's not working. How do I unmute you all? Oh, I can't. Wait, hold on. Maybe I can. Dang it. I thought I could do that. Nope, not working. Okay, well, that didn't work. Well, anyway, just give me a little hi, give me a little chat in the box, and just tell me that you're here with me and that you are supporting me. Also, what I also want to do too that I didn't do the last time is I am actually going to be asking for some feedback. So I got a sort of download before the last session on Thursday that I should do an additional tapping demonstration with you guys. And so I want to do that with you guys with this group. And what I'm going to do differently is I'm going to actually ask for feedback from you. And so I do know how to unmute you guys individually. So what I'm going to do is for those of you who like to participate and you like to put your hands up, I would love to hear some feedback from you. So like if you're having like a really great experience with this and you want to share it, I would like you to raise your hand so that I can unmute you. And then this can be a way that I can give you some kind of private coaching as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that this session, and I didn't do that last time. And I know the majority of you guys won't want to raise your hand and say anything, but there will be a few of you that will. So thanks to you in advance. And if you know you're that person, then go ahead and you can just click the little yellow hand sign. You probably know exactly where it is, and I'll be able to unmute you if you want to share your experience or answer my questions that I'm asking. All right. So let's see here. I'm just going to go through my list. So also, if there's anybody new to tapping, actually, I'd love to get a sense of that. Is there anybody new to tapping? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're new to tapping, if you have no idea what tapping is, or if you're brand new, you don't really know how to do it. Okay, I see only a couple. Okay. Let's see. So Carly, for you, and Shannon, there's a handout actually on, if you look at, there's a little symbol that looks like a page. Go ahead and click that and it'll give you a handout with all the tapping points. So just go ahead and print that out or download that, take a look at it. You really don't need to follow along with that, but just have a look at it so that you can see where all the tapping points are. We're going to be tapping on acupressure points. I'm sure you probably know what tapping is. But you don't really have to understand it more than just following along and doing exactly what I tell you to do. The only way that you can really screw up tapping is if you start thinking about the laundry or something completely different when we're going through the exercise. But I try to keep you really engaged in visualizing and stuff like that while we're doing the exercises. So I don't think that will be a problem. All right, so we sent you an email and asked you to bring a food with you to this call. And one of the reasons that I'm paranoid that I'm not recording this, I just had to double check. I marked that box. So one of the reasons that I taught an additional tapping exercise on the last webinar that I did was because I realized that we didn't explain to you what types of foods to bring. So, you know, one of the things that I talk about a lot is the weight loss blockers. And, you know, if you haven't heard me talk about it, in my work, I've been working with this, with binge eating and emotional eating for over 15 years. And of course, I was my own personal experiment. But what I realized was that you have to work with the different problems differently. So even though I started tapping when I was 15 and I have so much experience with tapping, I mean, by the time I was really trying to solve this, I was in my 20s and I'd already been tapping for like 12 years or something like that. And I'd watched all the videos and I was really good at tapping on myself. But with all the trainings that I was watching, the regular tapping didn't work for me. And so what I realized over just years of trial and error and working with my own food cravings and emotional eating was that there's actually a different way that you have to apply tapping to the different problems. And two of those problems are food cravings and emotional eating. And the cool thing about this is that you actually have to work with these two things totally separately. Because if you don't, like if you use the craving tapping for emotional eating, it won't work. If you use the emotional eating tapping for cravings, it won't work. And I don't mean regular tapping, I mean my method kind of tapping. So what I realized was that regular tapping wasn't working for me. And so I started to play with different methods. And actually one day, I've told this story before, but I was getting ready to teach a class on, I can't remember what the topic was, but I was getting ready to teach a class. This was once I had started my weight loss business for tapping. You know, I knew how to get people amazing results with tapping. I knew how to get people amazing results with their food cravings. I just didn't have the emotional eating piece completely dialed yet. But I had basically stopped eating emotionally. And you may have heard this story before, but before I launched my first program, I partnered with Dawson Church, who's very well known within the tapping industry. And he got a bunch of partners together to launch my tapping videos out to like 2.5 million internet viewers. It was a really, really big launch that we were doing. And I just started my business like actually officially maybe 6 months before that. So this was like a really, really big deal. And because I didn't know how to manage my emotional eating completely, I started to binge. So I felt really, really bad about myself because, you know, I felt like a fraud and a failure. And I had a lot of pep talks from people who, you know, I share this information with, and they're like, Brittany, you know 99.9% than most people about food cravings and about tapping and emotional eating. So just focus on that. And it was true. I did. And I was just helping so many people, but I couldn't help but still feel like I was a little bit of a fraud, that I couldn't solve this one problem on my own. And so I was about a year into my business and I was teaching this advanced class, and I had set the intention before the class that I was going to get to the bottom of all my final problems and all the problems of everybody in this class with me. And that's a big order. But I set the intention that I was going to do that. And one day, right before I was getting ready to teach this class, I was craving chocolate. And I went out and I bought some chocolate, and I had the chocolate there in front of me, and I knew that it wasn't a real desire. It was an emotional eating desire. And part of me, 90% of me wanted it so bad, and 10% of me was just fighting this desire and this craving. And so in that moment, I decided that I was going to try something different. And the only way that I can describe it is that it just came through as an intuitive hit. Something or someone was telling me what to do every step by step. And so I heard a little voice go, push it away. And I pushed it away. And then I heard a little voice ask me a series of questions, and I answered all the questions. And then I did this tapping routine and a bunch of different visualizations. And after about 15 minutes, I looked down at the chocolate and I had no desire for it. And that had never happened for me. Because if you've been using tapping for a while, what tapping tells you to do is tapping tells you to focus on the problem, right? So, okay, figure out what the problem is, tap on that. Even though I have this problem, I completely love and accept myself. Well, most people who eat emotionally have no idea what the problem is when they're eating emotionally. They just know, I want food, I need to eat food, and that's it, right? You can't, and there's almost like not even a way to pause, right? You know, when you're really, really after a binge, there's really no way to pause and go, okay, wait, let me think about how I'm feeling right now. I mean, I would say somebody like that probably doesn't have much emotional eating at all, and they've got more mastery over being able to control this. Well, that was never me. And, for the longest time, I realized that I had such a powerful subconscious mind that just turned into this animal and sabotage me with food and sabotage all these things, that I realized that I had to have complete mastery over my subconscious mind. And it had to be a way that wasn't something I had to do consciously. And so my whole life, I've just been researching the subconscious mind, how to make deep, rapid change in the subconscious mind. So of course it makes sense to me that this technique came to me, because my whole life, the only thing that I've been scanning for with personal change is how can I make how can I get the biggest results in the shortest period of time with the least amount of effort? And even if it takes like kind of a big effort for a short period of time, I'm okay with that. But as long as it just goes by quick. And I kind of learned all these ways to trick my mind into not wanting food anymore. And so after that experience, I was just like, okay, wait a second. Did that really just happen to me? I'm not sure if that really happened. So I had client calls later on that day, and I would talk to my clients, and I would go, and I was talking to one of my clients, and I was like, you know what, I tried this thing earlier. It's working like gangbusters. I have no idea if it's going to work on you, but let's just try it and see what happens. And sure enough, she got results. And it was the first time that she had been able to walk away, even though she really wanted to binge on that food. And so then I tried it with another student, and everybody was getting the same results. And it was just like totally mind blowing. So anyway, so I learned how to work with this. I mean, it's been 4 years that I've been working with this technique now. I have filed a trademark for it. It's actually, we call it echo tapping. There's lots of different ways that you can work with echo tapping. But today what I'm going to teach it for is I'm going to teach it specifically for emotional eating. And I have trained coaches now who also are trained in this method that train other people on how to use it for emotional eating, and it can actually be used for any addictive behavior. So anything alcohol or drugs or shopping or sex, or just think about, Netflix, smoking, think about all the things that you could be addicted to. It can work for that as well. So I'm really, really excited to share this method. There's a couple caveats in working with this. This isn't the thing that just is going to solve all your problems. Yes, it can solve emotional eating, but there's other things that you need to know in working with this. And so today I'm going to share some of those tips and tricks with you. All right. So my goal really today for you guys is to walk away with a really, really amazing experience. I love putting the pieces of the puzzle together for people. I remember how long I struggled with emotional eating and binge eating. And I really do believe that I struggled with this for a reason, so that I could learn these techniques and then now give them to you. Because when I was struggling with this, there was nobody offering information that could help me, that actually helped me. Janine Roth books were great, but they just told me that they just explained to me that I had a problem. I could never do her techniques. I couldn't go for a walk. I couldn't go for call a girlfriend. I couldn't do any of these things when I was triggered emotionally, because, when you're an emotional eater, food has become your best friend. And when food's your best friend and food's always there for you to comfort you, it's really, really difficult to think, oh, actually, you're not my best friend anymore. I'm going to call this other person, or I'm just going to go for a walk and that's going to be just as good, because it's not, and there's emotional reasons why it's not. We are connected to food. People who binge with food in this way are connected to food in a way that is unhealthy for them. But what's cool about it is that your brain just has the wrong information. Your brain is like this filing cabinet, and it files different experiences and thoughts and emotions and memories in what it thinks is the proper filing cabinet. And when you have really powerful experiences with food, which I'll explain a little bit later, your food goes, oh, okay, well, you had a really happy experience with this person and you guys were eating chocolate at the time. So we're going to put this in the same file. And so every time you eat chocolate, you're flooded with all these subconscious memories of eating chocolate with your grandmother, or baking cookies with your mom after you came home from school, or whatever, going for chocolate sundaes with dad on the weekend. And that was your special time, right? So what happens with people who choose food is that their brain has the wrong information. And what's so, so cool, and what we're going to do today is we're going to tell your brain that it's got the wrong information, and we're going to reorganize the filing cabinet so that food goes in the food file and loving memories and experiences go in that file, and they don't crisscross. So I really want you guys to have a powerful experience and really understand the difference between cravings and emotional eating, and have a powerful experience with that. And I also, I know that there's a lot of people, we've had a lot of emails from people who want to take this work further. And at the end, I'll be talking about that and how you can go further with this if you want to. I'll also be answering some Q&A, which I didn't do on the last training. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to get some coaching on your own personal story, or figure out if you should go deeper, then I'll stick around to answer those questions for you. Okay. Let's start out with food cravings. All right. So hopefully everybody has a food that you crave with you. If you don't, please go grab some right now. This experience is so much better when you have actual food in front of you. So before we start this technique, the reason that I'm doing two different techniques is because I want you to understand the difference between cravings and emotional eating. Food cravings, typically 9 times out of 10, actually no, all the time, food cravings I define as the food that you can't keep in the house. So it's that thing that if you buy it, it calls to you from the fridge, it speaks your name in the middle of the night, and you can't stop thinking about it, and you have to go eat it and finish it until it's all gone because you're not going to buy it again. That kind of food. Or even if it's in the house all the time because somebody else in your family likes it, it's that thing that you find yourself always going to, okay? Now, typically, you will have early childhood experiences with this food, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to think about this food, and actually some people can have up to 50 of these foods, right? But most people have like maybe 10 or 20. So I want you to think about your number one, okay? Your number one most common food that you crave. And I want you to think back to your earliest memories of eating that food. So 9 times out of 10, people will say, oh yeah, I used to bake cookies with grandma, or, oh, I ate hamburgers for the first time after, I graduated kindergarten with my dad, or, French fries were something that we used to eat as a family when we'd go out. So whatever that is for you, I want you to think about your earliest childhood experiences. And if you have one, go ahead and raise your hand. And I just want to hear what these are. Just tell me very quickly, just so that we can be conscious of time. Just tell me where your food craving comes from, who you used to eat this food with. So go ahead and raise your hand if you've got one. Cool. Judy's got one. Hey, Judy.
Yeah, I used to go out for an ice cream cone with my dad on Saturdays. Before a baseball game.
Right, cool. And how old were you?
5 or 6.
5 or 6, perfect. Okay, so I want you to hold on to that memory of your dad, and we're going to do this tapping exercise for it.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Judy. Thanks for sharing. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Let's see. Cheryl, I'm coming to you in a sec. Hey, Cheryl, you're unmuted.
I used to eat chocolate while I was reading a comic or a book, and that was my only safe time away from my family.
Okay. So I'm so glad you raised your hand. It just works out so magically when I do this. So the part that I forgot to explain, or that I was getting ready to explain, is that 1 out of 10 people will usually have a memory that's actually negative. And so while this food did comfort you, and there are good feelings around this food, you were trying to get away from a negative experience. And so that's going to bring us into the emotional eating technique. You actually have to work with that food differently. And you might not have food cravings in the way that other people have food cravings, Cheryl. So is this always like a go-to food? Is it hard for you to keep in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you find yourself going to that when you are, when you're not really hungry, but I think that maybe, so follow along with this technique, but I think actually the second technique is going to work better for you with this food in this scenario. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. And check back in. I want to know what your experience is with both of these techniques. Okay?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay, awesome. So I see a couple other hands up, but I'm not going to come to you guys just in the interest of time. But thank you for participating. I will come to you next. All right. So sometimes, just like I was explaining to Cheryl, sometimes people will have negative experiences with food, and that actually is an away from experience. So you're trying to actually get away from a negative experience. And that's what emotional eating is all about. Emotional eating is, oh, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, or, oh, I'm not feeling too good, or, whatever the feeling is going on in you that you're usually not even aware of. You just know that you feel bad, and you're trying to get away from that feeling by going towards food. Whereas a food craving is a towards strategy. So it's layered with all these really good, happy feelings of eating ice cream with dad on Sundays. And so whenever you're feeling stressed out, you're going towards that food because it makes you feel really good. So it's just a slight different change, but it makes all the difference when you're working with your mind. So you really need to know which is which. And sometimes you won't even know until you just try the different techniques and you see what works. So that's why I told Cheryl to follow along. And it'll be interesting to check back in with her and see what her cravings did. So if her craving doesn't really go down, then it will be, as I suspected, more of an emotional eating desire in that moment. All right. So I do tapping a little bit different. I think I probably already explained that to you guys. We have something, I actually teach this method. It's called the Watkins method, coaching certification. I do have over 50 trained coaches that are certified in this method with me. And the reason that I teach my own method is because regular tapping didn't work for me. So, and it didn't work for weight issues. It works amazingly for so many things, for fears and phobias and, all the kind of, not normal things, but there's a lot of things that regular tapping works really well for. But I found that there are very few coaches that are trained in EFT that even want to touch weight loss because they can't get the results. And I have so many doctors and therapists and PhDs and people that have really, really advanced levels of training and tapping that come to me to work on their weight issues because they can't get to the core of it. And it's because they don't understand the tools. They don't really understand the mind as it relates to food cravings, emotional eating, weight loss, and self-sabotage, as I do and as I train my coaches to understand. So, if you're here and if you've been teaching tapping, there's a lot of people that teach tapping that are kind of in this community. And so, I always want to give that caveat because some people really like the formal way of tapping and I just don't do it that way. So you'll see a demonstration of how this works for both of these techniques today. So the first thing that I want you to do is take the food that's in front of you, or if you don't have the food, just pretend that it's there. And I want you to open the food if it needs to be opened, smell it, taste it, and tell me what your desire for it is on a scale from 0 to 10. And type me in the questions box in the Q&A section. Type me what your number is. All right, Nan's at a 9. Mindy's at a 9. Jerry's at an 8. Judy's at an 8. Okay, we've got a lot of 8s and 9s. Tamara's at a 7. Okay, so for those of you that are, what I want you to do is I want you to make your craving even stronger. So I don't know, you have to do give it another really good smell or have another little taste and just really make your craving as strong as possible. And now the next part, what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through a visualization, and it's going to be a little bit, we call it a little bit ding-ding. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach down, and as you feel your desire for this food that's in front of you, feel all the good, yummy feelings, all the delicious, warm, yummy, whatever it is that you feel. I want you to imagine scooping those feelings out of the food and bringing them into your heart. Okay, so sometimes I have to scoop them a couple of times. And when they come into your body, into your heart, I see it turn into this big, beautiful, iridescent ball of light. And what we're going to be doing with this ball of light and this taste and all these good feelings is we're going to be passing it from your heart to the heart of the person that you shared this memory with. Okay, so we're going to send it to your dad if it was your dad, or your mom if it was your mom, or your grandma if it was your grandma, or whoever it is that you had this experience with. Now, if you don't want to share it with this person, that is fine, because there might be some other things that may have happened in the relationship. Really try to tune into just this one experience with this person, because even if the relationship may have had its challenges later on, right now in this moment, things are good. Things are really good. And if that still doesn't feel safe, and if you still don't want to do that, you can pick somebody else to do this with. So if you have a child, or if you have a lover, or just a friend that you really love, I've even used animals, or a tree if you don't have any animals. So trees are really beautiful, loving, nurturing souls, and they will receive this really well from you. So you decide who you want to share this with. It will be the most powerful if you can share it with the person that you actually share this memory with. All right, so we're going to start tapping through the points. So if you're new to tapping, just follow along. You don't have to worry about what I'm doing. Just look at the points and tap where I'm tapping. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to, again, really scoop up those feelings out of the food, bring them into your heart. Remember what the food tastes like. Taste it in your mind, feel all those good feelings, and send this taste and all these good feelings from your heart to their heart. And then from their heart back to your heart. And keep tasting that food in your mind, feeling all these good feelings, sending this taste back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So keep tasting the food in your mind. I'm going to keep reminding you, because you're going to forget there's a lot of things going on right now. Just keep tapping through the points, sending this ball of light from your heart to their heart, and from their heart back to your heart. Just keep sending this ball of light back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Keep tasting this in your mind, feeling all these really good feelings. Remember what that tastes like. Make that sound that you make when you eat it. Remember what that smell is like. Smell it, and keep passing this ball of light back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And see, what we're doing right now is we're reorganizing the filing cabinet. We're telling your brain that this food that you're craving in front of you it belongs in its own filing cabinet, and this memory, this really good positive memory, belongs in another filing cabinet, right? So what we're doing is we're separating the feelings and the emotions from the food, so that food ends up just becoming food. And this won't make you never want to eat this food again. It'll just make you feel calm and relaxed around it, so you'll be able to have 2 squares of chocolate instead of polishing off the whole bar. Okay, so keep tapping through the points here. Remember what that food tastes like in your mind, feeling all those good feelings, and just keep passing that taste and all these good feelings from your heart to their heart, from their heart back to your heart, your heart to their heart, and their heart back to your heart. Good. Keep tasting that food in your mind, feeling all these good, warm, yummy, delicious feelings. Keep passing this ball of light back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, so take a nice deep breath, and just in your minds, I go over and give them a little hug and a kiss, and just tell them how much you love them, or how much you care about them, or how much you miss them if you miss them. And now we're going to just tune back into the food. So go ahead and look down at the food in front of you, have a little taste or a smell, and notice what your desire for it is now on a scale from 0 to 10. And please, for those of you who are giving me feedback, write your number in the chat box so I know where you're at. Cool. Okay, so we've got 2, 4, 5. Someone's at a 7 still. Okay. Oh, maybe those are more. 2, 6. Okay, cool. All right. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to do another round of this. Okay. So notice what's left. So look down at that thing in front of you. Notice your desire for it. Feel what's left. Feel the remaining desire for it. Scoop those feelings out of the food and bring them into your heart. Okay. Keep tapping the points and send this taste and all these good feelings from your heart to their heart, from their heart back to your heart. Keep tapping through the points, feeling all these good feelings, and just sending this taste and all these good feelings back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Remember what it tastes like in your mind. Feel all these good, warm, delicious, yummy feelings, sending it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Good. Keep tasting that food in your mind. Remember what it tastes like. Feel all these good feelings and just sending this taste and all these good feelings back and forth, back and forth. Keep tasting that food in your mind. Feel all those delicious, warm, yummy feelings. Back and forth, back and forth. Good. Okay, let's take another nice deep breath. Look down at the food again and notice what your desire for it is now on a scale from 0 to 10 and type me what it is in the chat box. Lucy's at a 0 now. Jerry's at a 2. Awesome. Nan's at a 4. Got a 1, 2. Cool. Okay, so we got a lot of 0s and 2s. It's in the bin. Lucy threw it away. Yay. Okay, so this is a really good example of this was regular tapping, but we did it in a different way. And by doing it in this different way, we're able to get massive results in like, I don't know how long that was, maybe less than 7 minutes. So, I don't know if you've had an experience with tapping for cravings before, but I remember with me, when I first started working with people or when I was having these experiences, sometimes it would take me 45 minutes to get down to a 0 using regular tapping. And like, how cool is this that using the ball of light, you can get rid of it in like less than 10 minutes and throw your food away, which Lucy just did, or get your craving down to like a 2 or a 3 and barely there. So this is a really, really powerful method. So then after we do the ball of light, we finish it up with some regular tapping. Now, the way that the ball of light, my version of, we call it the ball of light, for food cravings works is that once you are done with the ball of light part, then you want to go back to the food and notice which part of the food that you still like. Okay, so what is it that you still like about it? Is it the chocolatey flavor? Is it the saltiness? Is it the way the chocolate and the peanut butter are combined and taste really good together? So notice what it is. So this works like aspects. So for those of you tappers, you probably know what tapping is, or what aspects are. There's aspects of the things that you still crave about the chocolate, all right? So notice what it is about this food that you still crave, and I'm just going to do some regular tapping out loud, and you fill in the blank with whatever it is, okay? So I still have this craving for fill in the blank. I just love this. I cannot get enough of this. Just tastes so good. I just love this, what is it? Crunchiness, this saltiness, this chocolate peanut buttery taste, whatever it is. Say that out loud. I can't get enough of this. Fill in the blank. Please don't take this food away from me. I love it so much. It makes me feel so good when I eat it. I don't want to give it up. I don't know what I'll do without my whatever it is, chocolate, potato chips, ice cream. I don't know how I'll live without my chocolate. But I'm willing to make peace with this. I'm willing to make peace with this. All right, so take another nice deep breath. And tune into the food that you have in front of you again and take another little bite or a taste or a smell and tell me what your desire for it is now. And actually, if you can put your hand up, I want to actually get some feedback. So I want to hear where you started and where you're at now. Go ahead and raise your hand if you want to share. Oh, we've got some people that don't have, let's see. Looks like some people don't have the connections. Okay, so let's see. I've got a lot of comments. Actually, I'm ready to put it back in the freezer. Judy's at a 0. Nan's at a 2. All right, who else? Leave me a comment. Tell me what your number is. Type it in the chat box. So if you, okay, we've got a lot of 0s. Okay, Margaret says 1, it tastes like cardboard. Awesome. Cool, okay. 0, I keep pushing it away, Julie says. Awesome. I started at a 6, went to a 5, but I think mine is emotional. Okay, that was Cheryl. Okay, great, Cheryl. So yes, now we know that you started at a 6, you went to a 5. So this is not, that is what I suspected, that this technique wouldn't necessarily work for you in that scenario. And so you can see now how weight issues can be so frustrating when you know what tapping is and you know how to do all this amazing personal change work on yourself and for all the other problems that you have in your life, but you can't use it for food. And so this is what I really, really became an expert at, is how to actually apply these methods in this certain way that gets people really, really amazing results. So Cheryl, hang on for the emotional eating technique, because I think you'll have a really big transformation with that. Tamara says, mine is emotional too. Okay, Yvonne says 0 for chocolate, it's a miracle. It's not a miracle. It is the power of your mind, if you know how to work with it. Okay, cool. Thanks for all the feedback, guys. Can everybody still hear me okay? I'm looking at the names list, and it looks like there's like a lot of little question marks next to people. Just type me in the box and just make sure that you can hear me okay. Okay, yes. Looks like we're fine. Okay. Loud and good. Okay, good. All right, thanks you guys. For those of you that are checking in with me, it really helps me feel like I'm not just talking to my computer screen here. Okay, cool. So now you had an experience with craving tapping and you understand how to make craving tapping work, and hopefully you understand how to use craving tapping when you have a food craving and how to identify it. And you know, the thing that I tell my students all the time in the Think in Advance program is I say that sometimes you don't know what technique is going to work for you until you just try it and experiment with it. So, you know, everybody's different. You know, I would say about 80% of my students have the same problems, but there's a 20% variance. And so for some people, you know, just like Cheryl's here, Cheryl and I'm sorry, I forget, there was one other person that said Tamara, they're not really having a food craving, or they're not, the craving tapping didn't work for them in the way that it worked for everybody else. And so, you know, I always tell my students to just try it and see which way works for you. And you know, that's the best way to get you the results. Okay. So, all right. So I want to shift into talking about emotional eating. Are there any questions about what we just did? All right, Deborah said mine is still at a 10, but I ate mine out of rebellion. Okay, Deborah, actually, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because when you have this sort of rebellious, you know, energy about eating food, that actually falls into a totally different category, and that would be self-sabotage. So the thing about these techniques is that it's really good to know how to apply them. So you can apply all the craving tapping on all your craving foods. You can do the push the food away, echo tapping for all your emotional eating. But if you still have self-sabotage, which 99.9% of us do, you're going to keep coming back to sabotage yourself over and over and over again. So no matter how many craving things you do, or no matter how many times you push it away, you'll still come back and sabotage yourself, because your brain doesn't actually have the right information. Your brain thinks that it's not safe to lose this weight. okay? And you can't just tap away, it's safe for me to lose weight, because there's a whole slew of reasons that your brain has the wrong information about why it can't lose weight. So I talk about this in my weight loss blocker training. We don't have time to talk about that stuff now, but I'll just kind of give you a quick synopsis. You know, your subconscious mind, there's 7 subconscious weight loss blockers that cause people to sabotage their weight. And if you have even one of them, you will keep coming back to sabotage your weight over and over and over again. And so when you have this really, you know, rebellious, self-sabotaging behavior, it's really important that you understand what all the different weight loss blockers are. And if you want, let's see, I don't know, that training isn't available right now, but if you want it, you can, I think you can just email support at BrittanyWatkins.com. So for anybody that wants to learn more about the weight loss blockers, I have like an hour training. It's just like this. You can learn all the weight loss blockers and then what you can do about it in that training. So just type support at BrittanyWatkins.com and ask for the weight loss blocker training, and then we'll get it for you. But it's really, really important. And, you know, this is one of the things that we focus on in my advanced programs and with my Think and Thin programs, is really understanding what these subconscious weight loss blockers are, because you can have all the tools and techniques in the world, but if you don't know what's stopping you, what's really blocking you from having success, you won't be able to take action. You won't be able to have success and make it stick and be happy with it. Because unfortunately, you know, most of us have a very difficult relationship with our parents or our authority figures. And that's where this self-sabotage comes from, is that we don't have a good mirror for how authority feels like for us, or how good authority manages things, right? So, you know, this was one of my biggest aha moments, other than echo tapping, was figuring out the connection between a negative relationship with our authority figure and this self-sabotage, and learning how to reprogram it with some really, really amazing, powerful tools and powerful work that we do in the Think and Thin Advanced program. So let's do, Deborah, for you, let's do the push the food away, and let's see what happens. And, you know, if you're still sabotaging, and if you're still like, oh my gosh, you know, I can talk to you a little bit about that later and tell you what's going on, or I'll have to ask you some questions. But so anyway, so that's a little bit how these methods work. And, you know, I'm just sharing this all with you guys because I was so confused. You know, it was like, I feel like it took step by step. There were like 7 or 8 different major aha moments that I had with emotional eating and using the tools that I now use to help people overcome this problem. And, you know, I didn't get them all right away. It's like I figured out the food craving piece really well in the beginning, and then I couldn't figure out the emotional eating piece. And then I had the emotional eating piece, but I was still sabotaging myself. And then I figured out the self-sabotage piece, and then I was like, oh my God, all my problems are solved and it's amazing. And then I figured out another piece that needed to be solved as well, that I'm actually teaching my students right now about. So there's all of these really cool things that you can do with food cravings and with emotional eating. They take a lot of courage and they take a lot of guts. But one of the things that I am just so sure of is that your emotional eating is showing up in your life for a reason. Your emotional eating is actually showing you the exact things that you need to take care of to live a better life. So I'll give you an example. When I learned about emotional eating in the way that I learned about it that morning that I did the push the food away with the chocolate, what I realized was that our emotional eating will take us to the exact traumas that are stuck in our subconscious mind that are stopping us from having success with basically everything else that we have a problem with. So like, think of it this way. What if you, I mean, I know that most people here, I think, can agree that we were taught that negative experiences form limiting beliefs, right? So you have a whole bunch of experiences. You grow up, you're a child, you're a human, you hit your head, your parents get angry with you, you don't get good grades, you know, all these things. You have all these experiences, right? And some of them are good and some of them are bad. Well, what, you know, personal development gurus have been talking about forever is that these negative experiences are what cause us to form limitations about ourselves. And what if And so, actually, let me back up. So think about a problem other than weight that you're struggling with. I want to make more money. I want to have a better relationship. I want to start dating. I want to, I don't know, run a marathon, whatever it is that you're kind of trying to go after. I want to start a business, but I won't let myself. Or, I want to be better at videos, whatever those things are for you. So the typical way to do it is to go, okay, well, what's my limiting belief about this? And la, 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 and what memory, where can I, you kind of go digging for the memories or the experiences that caused this issue. But what if your emotional eating was pointing you in the exact right direction? What if your emotional eating was showing you right here, here's the memory that's causing all these problems? And you didn't have to go fishing for it. Your emotional eating was telling you where it is. So that's one of the most powerful things about this technique. And this is why I teach a coaching certification on it, because it's a really in-depth process and you can use it on a slew of things to just have better success and more amazing things happen in your life. Because as you all probably know, weight and weight issues it's never just about the weight. It's never about the weight, right? It's about other things in your life. And so something really funny happened. Actually, the first year that I ran my advanced program, it was only 4 months at the time. Now it's 6. And everybody graduated and they're like, in the graduation call, we started talking about looking back at our life when we first started and now, and everybody was sharing the transformations. And I kid you not, we had a woman that got a check for $25,000 in the mail who was struggling financially. We had another woman who was a hoarder. Her house was apparently filled with things and she could never get rid of them. She completely cleaned her entire house out in the middle of the program. We had another woman who got fired from a job that she hated. She hated this job anyway. She complained about it every time we talked. And then, I don't know, about 4 weeks into the program, she gets fired from it and hired by another company, lands her dream job basically in 2 weeks. Found another boyfriend, found a man who's amazing. All these amazing transformations, people were making more money. They were having better sex with their husbands. They were having better relationship with their husbands. I've had emails from husbands thanking me for whatever I did to their wife, which of course it's not me. It's, you guys making the change. But I've had women who got pregnant, who were trying to get pregnant, women that didn't think they could ever have babies, again, getting pregnant. So watch out. Watch out for those of you that don't want to have more babies. Just amazing transformations, right? So this goes to show that your emotional eating is a beautiful, beautiful gift. And this is the reframe that I want to give to you now, is that your emotional eating is taking you to the exact things in your life that need to be healed and cleared in order for you to step in and be the powerful person that your soul wants you to be, and that probably deep down inside you were born to be. So I'm going to show you how that works today, and you guys are going to have an experience with it, okay? All right, so the way that we start out this technique is putting yourself in a situation where you would eat emotionally, okay? So I want you to think about where you would be. Are you at work? Are you at home and everybody's sleeping? Are you just getting off of work and coming home? When do you eat emotionally? Put yourself there. Put yourself in your body, looking through your own eyes. See what you see, hear what you hear, and feel all the feelings that you feel in that situation. And I want you to think about what happened that caused you to want to eat. And you don't have to know what it is, but just think about your day. Maybe it's craziness. Maybe the kids are freaking out, or you've got a deadline, or you're stressed about money, or there's something going on, right? So I want you to make that even stronger. I want you to make your stress even higher, okay? I know this is really uncomfortable, but I'm going to give you some relief in a minute. All right, and what I want you to do now is I want you to tell me what your desire for food right now is on a scale from 0 to 10. So you can probably feel in your body that this feels really uncomfortable and it feels really crappy. So I want to eat some food because eating food will change my experience. It'll change my state, right? I won't feel crappy as long as I'm eating cookies. So you can't. It's impossible to feel crappy and eat cookies at the same time because the cookies release all these chemicals in your brain that make you feel really good and really happy. I bet it only lasts for like 15 minutes. All right, so let's see. Cheryl says she's at a 10 and she wants the chocolate ice cream. Cool. So who else? Karen's at an 8. Awesome. So give me some more feedback. Who else is at a, give me a number from some more people. Susan's at a 7, 10. I want to hide and eat chocolate in the closet. Oh, we had a lot come through. Okay, 9, 8, 9 out of 9. Okay, great. So your emotional eating is really high right now, and you've got a big desire to eat food. So it might be cookies, it might be chocolate, it might be ice cream that you want, or it might just be like, say you didn't have anything right now. Say you didn't have anything that is like, really yummy like that. But say you have a can of beans. Wouldn't you eat a can of beans right now too? So if you're an emotional eater, you will usually answer yes to that. If it's no, I'm not going to eat just a can of beans, or I'm not going to just eat anything in this moment, then you probably don't have emotional eating that strong, which is really great. And you just want to focus on the more craving tapping for you personally. But I'm going to say that most of you guys will probably be okay with a can of beans. Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of yeses here. Anything, yes, cool. Then I would eat carbs, yeah. Okay, carbs and sugar. Yeah, I mean, carbs and sugar are the things that, of course, we want because our brain knows that's going to give us the biggest endorphin release. But even if there's if there's nothing like that around and you're like panicking, like I need something right now, kind of anything will do because anything will comfort this really emotional experience that you're having. All right, so we're going to do this technique now. So again, guys, go back, feel that feeling. I want to eat emotionally. See that food in front of you. Okay, don't eat it. See that food in front of you. And I want you to notice what's happening. Notice that your body's like a magnet drawing you to the food to pick it up and put it in your mouth, right? So what I want you to do in this moment is that you're going to actually push the food away and push it out arm's length distance in front of you. Sit back, start tapping the karate chop point. I want you to feel this bad feeling. This is going to feel really, really bad, okay? Feel this bad feeling, and I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me the very first thing that comes to your mind. How old are you right now? Go with the very first thing that comes up. Okay, you might hear a number, you might feel a number, you might see a number, but just feel this bad feeling. How old am I right now? Go with that first thing. Go with the first thing that comes up. Start tapping through the points. I want you to see yourself at that age. Take a few steps closer to her. Get closer and closer and closer to her until you can step inside her body. Open your eyes, take a look around, and tell me what's going on, even if you think you're making it up. Okay, now this could be really uncomfortable for a lot of you, but just go ahead and keep tapping through the points here. And now what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the feeling that's the strongest right now. So sadness, fear, anxiety, anger. What is that feeling for you? As you keep tapping through the points, what the tapping is doing is the tapping is helping release this emotional connection. Okay? So go ahead and keep tapping through the points, feeling all of these feelings. And I want you to really allow yourself to boldly step into this feeling, knowing that in just a matter of seconds, this feeling will completely dissipate. Just keep tapping through the points as you do this. Keep tapping through the points. Keep feeling that feeling. And for some of you, you're going to want to say something out loud. There might be somebody else involved with the situation. Okay. And if there's somebody there and you want to say something to them, you can say, that's not fair. How could you? I'm so angry at you. Whatever it is you want to say, go ahead and do that out loud. Or you could just want to keep feeling this feeling and tapping through it. It's up to you. Good. Keep tapping through the points here. Keep feeling that feeling. Good. Keep really feeling that feeling. Keep tapping through the points. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to keep tapping until you notice your body kind of relax or take a little breath. And you may have already had that experience. It usually only takes like 30 seconds to a minute to have that shift, okay? But I was feeling that there's some bigger energy here, so we're going to stay here with it longer. Okay, so now what I want you to do is stop tapping for a minute. Take a nice deep breath, come out of that body, and I want you to now step inside this movie with this younger you as the adult that you are today. Start tapping through the points again and tell the little you whatever it is she needs to know about this thing that she's experiencing. So maybe she needs to be completely taken out of that situation and brought home to live with you in a warm, comfy, safe environment that you know she's going to be really well taken care of. Or maybe she just needs to know that she's loved and that you're here for her and that she's a good girl, or that, you know, she's going to have everything that she wants in the future, or that, you know, she's going to be safe and that she is safe and this scary thing that's happening to her right now is going to go away. So whatever it is that she needs to know, you're going to know the exact perfect words to tell her right now. I'm going to stop talking and just let you, as you tap through the points, keep telling her whatever it is she needs to know. Good, and you might have more to say to her at this point, but just say as much as you can right now, and we're going to keep doing some healing work with her. So take another nice deep breath, and you can always come back and talk to her more if you want to, if this feels really good. And now what we're going to do is I want you to sit there with the little you and just put her on your lap and hug her and hold her and get comfy and cozy with her. And now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine your angels, your guides, your angels. If you don't like angels, you can use white light. I want you to imagine it surrounding you. So imagine if it's angels, imagine their wings just around you, embracing you, holding you really tight, you and her. And I want you to imagine they have this golden liquid light that they are just sprinkling down from the top of you. And this golden liquid light is coming through you, through your energy body, through her energy body, through your body. And it's washing away all that's no longer serving you, all the thoughts, all the beliefs, all the limitations, all the stuck feelings, emotions. Just allow this golden liquid light to wash all of that away. And feel as the ground becomes a huge vacuum cleaner and just slurps it into the ground. The ground loves shit, because it turns it into fertilizer that makes amazing things later on. Okay, so just allow this golden liquid light to release all of your yucky stuff into the ground. And just again, feel the ground become a huge vacuum cleaner and just slurp it into the ground to be recycled into beautiful flowers later on. And take another nice deep breath. You don't have to tap during this process, by the way. Now, what I want you to do is, now your body is going to be filled up with this golden liquid light. So feel and see as your angels are sprinkling even more golden liquid light. And they're actually like, it's really coming down. It's raining on you. Just feel as your body now is actually absorbing it. So feel as this golden liquid light is being absorbed into every cell of your body, and feel your body get fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller to every limb of your body, and look down at the little you and see as her body's getting fuller and fuller and fuller with this golden, beautiful, brilliant crystal light. And see this golden crystal liquid light just filling you up so much that it shoots out of your fingertips, it shoots out of your toe tips, it spills out over your heart, and it shoots up the tippy top of your head. And just feel yourself here fountaining this golden liquid crystal light. And look down at the little you that's fountaining this light as well. And that's probably going to feel really amazing right now. And you can stay here for as long as you want, but for purposes of this demonstration, I just want you to go ahead and you can keep that there. Thank the angels for helping you, for being here, for healing you, and for being with us. And then look down at the little you, and I want you to shrink her down into little teeny tiny bite size. Pick her up, put her in your heart, and feel as she grows up inside of you. She's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and older and older and older until she becomes you as the adult that you are today, with this new understanding and this new way of seeing that situation. All right, so go ahead and take a nice deep breath and come back. And put yourself in that same situation again and think about all the things that bother you. And now I want to hear from you. I want you to raise your hand and I want you to tell me what this experience was like for you, okay? Tell me, did it go up? Did it go down? Did it stay the same? What happened for you? Go ahead and put your hand up and I can unmute you. All right, Judy's got her hand up. Oh, Judy, you've got to unmute. You've got to unmute me. Oh, can't talk to you, Judy. I guess you've got to unmute your phone. All right, who else wants to share their experience? Oh, there you go, Judy. Hey, how was that for you?
Well, I sort of, it was kind of tough.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to imagine myself as a little girl, and it kept disappearing for me. You know, that image?
Yep.
So I don't think it really, I don't.
So what did your desire start at, and what did it end at?
Well, it didn't start that strong because I'd done the other stuff, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, so my problem is, like, I eat at night, you know, only when I'm alone. If I'm with other people, I don't eat, just at night.
So what was the memory?
So
what was the memory that you went back?
Well, I was abused as a child, right? So
okay.
I felt alone, even though I wasn't alone, because nobody was helping me. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
And yeah,
so were you able, so sometimes Judy, with sexual abuse and with really strong situations of abuse, it's actually really hard to get inside the body at first. So did you find the resistance to that, actually stepping in the body?
Yeah.
Because okay, so that's probably, if you're not noticing a change much, it's because you need to there's an additional process that you need to take to kind of get yourself prepared to get into that body. And it can be a little bit scary and overwhelming at first, but initially, sometimes when we first do this the first couple of times, your subconscious mind wants you to clear this so bad. It's going to give you like the big shit that it just wants to get out. And I notice this with a lot of my students. At first, it's a lot of really big stuff. And then over time, it's just kind of little stuff. So it could be, something as simple as glass breaking later on. But at first, the big stuff wants to come up. So there's actually a different process that I would kind of do with this, Judy, for sexual abuse. So yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. You did it perfectly. And this is just your brain's way of protecting you from really feeling that trauma, because that was really big and it's there for a reason, This is one of the reasons that most women carry extra weight, is because they have negative sexual experiences. And that can be anything from sexual abuse to someone looking at you funny in a way that you didn't like. We create this barrier around our bodies that protect us, or our brain thinks it's protecting us from unwanted attention. And it kind of works, but it doesn't really, because people are still always going to look at you. So anyway, Judy, thank you for raising your hand and sharing that. And yeah, there's actually an additional process that I would probably want to take you through to really get to the core of that. Cool. So who else wants to share their experience? Go ahead and press the little star. Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl, how did that work for you?
Well, I was crying in it, but I think it was really good. I don't actually want to eat right now.
Oh, awesome. So you went from, what was your number when you started?
10.
You were at a 10 to 0 in one round. Wow, that's awesome. Good for you, girl.
I worked on the trauma for years.
You worked on this trauma for years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've always struggled with the eating, and I know I am trying to not be attractive.
Yes, exactly. and this is just, it's all your brain just thinking that it's trying to protect you, and it's just got the wrong information. And so you can see now how powerful this is and how amazing it is that your brain is trying to protect you, but it also knows there's some deeper part of you that knows that these are the things that you need to resolve if you really want to reach your goals. So congratulations. And that's really, really big. You've probably done a lot of tapping in the past for this thing to come up right now. Is that true?
I've done some tapping for panic, but most of it's been other memory work.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So this took you right to it, and you went from a 10 to a 0. So now you know what to do next time you want to eat emotionally.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm happy to share it. Thank you for raising your hand and being brave.
Oh, you're incredible.
I shut you off when you were telling me how incredible I am. Thank you, Cheryl. I really appreciate that. Okay, is there anybody else that wants to share their experience? Go ahead and raise your hand and I can unmute you and talk to you, or if you have questions. Let's see. Vicky says, I completely forgot about the food and concentrated on the healing. Awesome. I started at an 8 and cried so much during this. I remember feeling like I'm so hungry and nobody cares about me a lot as a child, but now I feel completely calm and physically full. Awesome, Julie. That is so cool. Yeah, it's amazing the memories that come up with this. And they're not memories like, I don't know if you guys have heard about the personal peace procedure, that Gary Craig talks about, where you write all your bad memories down and then you work through them one by one. Oh my gosh, like what a difficult process is that. I've actually done it, but it didn't really even help me that much, because what I was focusing on weren't actually the problems that were causing my emotional eating or my weight issues. And so I just think this is such a better process to get to the core of an emotional eating urge. So, it just takes you right to the thing. And these are things like, yeah, it's not going to be in your conscious awareness of being 2 years old and, nobody around. But when you allow your subconscious mind to take you there and you use the food as your gateway to get you there, it's just really incredible, the shifts that you can have and the things that come up. Cool. So anybody else? Let's see. Maya said, I also cried. I had no idea that memory was so painful for me, though I will never recover from the pain when it first hit, especially put the little meat on my knee. But with the angels and the light, I felt my face becoming smoother and relaxed. Yeah, awesome. Awesome, Maya. I think I love that healing part at the end. And Shannon is asking, how does this work for mindless eating? So mindless eating is the same thing as emotional eating. So what you would do with that is you would just push it away. So when you're doing the mindless eating, most people, if you know enough to say I'm a mindless eater, then you're kind of aware that you're doing it. You just don't take the time to stop and do it. So what you would do is, in that situation, when you're doing that mindless eating, catch yourself and go, okay, wait, hold on, I'm going to push it away and see what comes up here. So that's how you would do it for mindless eating, Shannon. Cool. So I want to tell you guys about taking this work further. So I have an advanced program, Think and Thin Advanced. I've been running this advanced program this is going on my 5th year. And what I love about this program is I'm able to work very closely with a very select handful of people and pretty much guarantee their success over the next 6 to 12 months. Because what we do is we work with you one-on-one to figure out your exact reasons that you're eating emotionally, right? Everybody here, I can make general statements about, 80% of you are going to have this, but there's a 20% variance that's really particular to you. And you might need to focus on something, Cheryl will need to focus on something very different than what Judy will need to focus on, or actually maybe it's a bit similar since they both have the same trauma, but your traumas are not all the same. And the way that you respond to those traumas are not all the same as well. And so that's why I developed this class, because what it does is it gives me the ability to really work with you guys to figure out exactly what's holding you back from your ideal weight, so that you can either lose weight without having to think about it because you're going to be eating a lot less. You're not going to be binging. Or B, you can, for the first time in your life, actually follow a healthy eating plan and exercise routine without sabotaging yourself. So what I really love to do is empower you with tools so that you know exactly what to do the next time you're having a food craving, the next time you're eating emotionally, the next time you're sabotaging yourself, the next time you go to a party, the next time there's a bunch of alcohol around, the next time you are having a critic attack and you're attacking yourself. There's all these different tools and techniques for the weight, for all these different issues that we struggle with when we're trying to lose weight. Right. So if you're being really critical of yourself and you're, just really hating your body and you don't want to go outside and you don't want to put a bathing suit on, that's going to be a completely different technique that you're going to want to use to get rid of that. Because what does that do? If you just sit in that and you just keep talking negatively to yourself, it builds up the stress and then you just say, fuck it, and you just want to eat. Right. So that's what ends up happening when you don't have tools and a way to manage your state in that moment. And so I am just all about self-empowerment. I want you to know exactly what to do whenever these things happen so that you can have a fulfilled and a happy life. Okay. I've been doing this, like I said, for 5 years. We've had amazing, amazing success in this program. We actually did a survey a couple of years ago and found that on average, the students lost 19.8 pounds, with the highest being 70 and the lowest being 10, but I think that's all she wanted to lose. So what we do, basically the way that it works for those of you that are interested, what we do is every other week there's a group call with me where I am teaching you a lesson and we have you bring certain foods to the call. And I'm actually taking you through a demonstration of something that's going to change your mindset around food. So some of the classes we have you actually throw food away into the garbage can. That's going to work on a completely different subconscious program about overeating. We're also going to teach you about this sexual abuse and the sexual boundaries and feeling comfortable in your body. See, the way that I teach is I am about, it's definitely not for everybody. What I do is I actually have you visualize situations that feel really uncomfortable. So like, for instance, I would say, imagine that you're surrounded by 10 men and they all want your number and they're coming at you, right? That's for the person that's been like triggered, with sexual abuse in their past or have had uncomfortable experience with men, that's going to really trigger them. But what I'm doing is I'm triggering you in this safe environment and clearing it so that when you're out in the world or when you start to lose weight or when you start to get compliments from people about how good you look, you're not going to trigger and go eat like you probably do right now. And so I really, really, what I want for you is to make deep, deep change in the shortest period of time. That's really what these modules do. So every other week, there's a module that is designed for you to make rapid change with all of the different weight loss blockers. So we talk about overeating, we talk about mindless eating, we talk about binging, self-sabotage, body image issues. We talk a lot about self-sabotage, a lot of parent-family reprogramming that relationship with your authority, taking your power back. This is a big one for women. How do you step into your power? How do you even know how to step into your power? Talking about personal needs, how to know what you need, how to actually stand for what you need and not feel guilty about it. So these are all the lessons that we teach. And then every other week, in addition to that, there's a live Q&A call with me where we get in. There's usually no more than 20 women in this group at a time, and we'll maybe have like 8 to 10 on a call at a time. And everybody goes around and they share their experience and they share their win from the last couple of weeks, and then they share what they're still struggling with. And then I'm able to work with them and coach them individually to really get to the core of what's stopping them. And one of my superpowers is being able to tune into somebody when I hear their voice, and I'm able to understand what the block is that's still causing whatever issue they're talking to me about. And so usually what I do is I'll prescribe a different technique for them to do. So I'll kind of make up a new technique based on whatever I'm feeling or I'm sensing with that person. And then I'll say, okay, this is the technique that I want you to do for the next 2 weeks. Do it every day or 3 times a week or whatever. And then they go away and they do that and they come back and they report. And then this way I'm kind of able to keep a thumb on your progress. So in addition to this, everybody in this group actually has one-on-one private coaching sessions too, because, I've done this group as, a group healing, and it just, you just need that one-on-one individual support. Things like sexual abuse or early childhood traumas, you need to have a one-on-one coach walking you through that. Even if you're like the most advanced tapper in the world, you're not going to be able to see your blind spots. I can never do really advanced tapping on myself. I always have to go to somebody else. So it's really, really important that you have the one-on-one coaching. So you have either 2 or 3 coaching sessions per month with your private coach. This isn't no like 3 sessions and you're good. Most of these programs give you very, very little private coaching. The minimum number is 12 sessions, 12 to 18 coaching sessions in the 6-month period. And I played with a lot of different numbers, and I found that this was the one that gave people the most change. And so in addition to that, you're going to work with your private coach. These are coaches that have worked with me. I only have 2 that work for me individually, work actually for my business. And these are people that I have worked with as students. They first came as students, and they both did the coaching certification 2 years in a row. So they've been in my circle by the time they started for already 3 years. They really know my method. I really, really trust them to make change, and they're able to just help students so well using these methods. And then I only work with 5 people at a time. I have 2 or 3 spots open. I can't remember which one it is. I have 2 or 3 spots open to work with me. I think it's 3, actually. It's 3 spots to work with me. And, obviously I like to work with my clients 3 times a month. And, I'm just here for you to get you the most change in the shortest period of time. These spots fill up really, really fast, guys. If you want to be considered for this program, the way that you do that is you go to thinkandthin.com and you fill out an application. So the application is just going to give us a sense of you. It's going to ask you some questions about your experience and, kind of where you're at right now and what your goals are. But what that does is it allows us to kind of get a sense of where you're at. And then what I like to do is I actually like to have a phone call with you to figure out if I can even really help you. I don't accept anyone into the course unless I know for sure that I can help them. And what we do in this first initial call is we talk through your weight loss blockers. So I actually put together your personal weight loss blocker roadmap. So there's a series of questions that I can ask you that will pull out all your biggest weight loss blockers. And so I know that now I have a list, and I go, if I'm working with you, we tick those off the list, or I give that to your coach and I say, these are the top 5 things that you need to focus on. Do this one first, this one second, this one third, this one fifth. So I can figure out and customize a coaching plan for you based on my intuitive hit that I get in just the years and years that I've been doing this. I'm really, really good at figuring out what exactly is stopping somebody. So the only way that I can do that is to really talk with you guys individually. So again, that website is thinkandthin.com, THINKAND, thin.com. And the application is there. Somebody in my office will get back to you. We only have 11 spaces available. I believe it's 11. We've had a few people join from the last webinar though. So these spots fill up really fast, you guys. So I just want you to, like, if you know that this is for you and you know that you've been struggling with this for a lifetime, this is 6 months that will radically, radically change your life. I cannot tell you how many people have made radical, radical transformations in their body, their weight, with their relationships, with their money, with their everything. I wish this was program that was, I wish we could call it the Change Your Life program, but you guys would have no idea what it means when I say that. So, we do focus on emotional eating, but just as you saw with the echo tapping, with the processes that we use in this program, we're able to get to the core of the things that are up for you, that are the biggest blockers that are standing in your way of success. So it really doesn't matter what you want more of: more money, more time, more relationship, more love, more happiness. Get off your depression meds. I've had women that have gotten off their depression meds. I've had women that have had their blood work done before and after the class, and they got off all their medication because of all the things that they cleared. So, these are all things that are a complete byproduct, right, to feeling really great about yourself. But I think the number one thing that we hear from absolutely everybody is just a sense of loving themselves in a way that they have never known before. And every single woman that goes through this program graduates and says, oh my gosh, I have a completely different relationship with myself. Because when you clear out all the traumas and all the stuck, yucky stuff, what you end up getting to the core of is your own personal power. And you can stand up for yourself and stand in your power as the woman that you were born to be and do things that take care of you. And yes, one of those things is eating healthy. One of those things is not binging. But the cool thing is all those things, you don't really have to be aware of those anymore because it's not a program. It's just not the way that your brain works anymore. So, what I always tell people is you'll notice a radical change in your food cravings and your emotional eating probably within the first month or two. And it's different. People always want to know, okay, how much weight am I going to lose? And, it's different for everybody. That's the honest truth. We have people that start to lose weight right away. We have other people that don't lose any weight until after the program is over. But everybody's journey is slightly different, So if you've had a lot of trauma in your past and there's a lot of stuff that's in there, we're going to not really want to have you focus on eating healthy or exercise. I mean, if you do that already, then great. But we're going to want you to focus on clearing the trauma work, right? And then after you get through that, my goal is with everybody is to kind of leave the nest. Like, I want you to feel calm leaving the nest. I don't want you to feel like you need to be working on yourself for the rest of your life, because definitely you do not. But this is kind of like a big deep clean, clearing out all the junk, and then it gives you the stability and the core and the inner confidence to go, okay, great. Now that I have a better relationship with myself, how do I want to feed my body? Maybe you find a healthy eating plan that's right for you. And the cool thing is, most women that choose a healthy eating plan, they choose it from a place of love. And they choose it by saying, you know what, this is something that I know I can stick to. It's not too restrictive. I can still eat carbs and sugar and all these things. So whatever that plan is for you, I don't recommend anything. I just want everybody to find the right perfect thing for them. But they're attracted to plans that are more nurturing, that are easier for them to stick to over a period of time. Or they start exercising just like, oh my gosh, I just want to exercise every day, and that feels really good for me. So everybody kind of works their personal journey out in a different way, and it works different for everybody. But I tell you what, having the freedom to be able to control what goes in your mouth, or control how you feel, or just being able to love yourself more and stand in your power is a huge gift, huge gift to give yourself. Another aspect of it is the buddy system. Everybody loves the buddy system. So what we do is we actually connect you with other students that are in the class, and we connect you. We call them the buddy triad. So 2 other people. So there's a group of 3. And this is your way of connecting with somebody else that's just like you. They're struggling with emotional eating. They know what tapping is. They like to make radical change in a very short period of time. So a lot of women find their tribe in this program. Like, how many people do you know that know about tapping? How many of your best friends can you talk to about this weird, crazy thing where you hit your face and you say all this weird stuff to yourself, right? But in this tribe, these are your people. So we've had women that meet their best friends. They actually fly to different cities and different countries to visit each other. We've had women start businesses together. I mean, it's amazing what happens, when women come together. It's like we are the juice and the medicine that we are wanting and needing so bad, yet nobody is willing to step up and say, hey, will you be my friend? So we do it for you. And you get to connect. And sometimes people connect really well, and sometimes people connect better with another person, and that's totally fine. So, we always find that it really works out well. I have kind of an intuition about who we connect with each other. And so that's another reason that I do the phone calls, is to really get a sense of you and to get a sense of everybody in the program. And then we pair you up with people that I think will be a really good fit for you. So people always ask about the investment. This is a significant investment. Think 4 figures. It takes a significant amount of my time. It's a 6-month program. You get a lot of one-on-one coaching. But, you know, I have never had anybody in this program that I can't help. And in fact, if you graduate the program and you don't get the results that you want, I will continue to keep working with you in the program until you get the results that you want. So it's not like a, hey, bye, ciao, you didn't get the results. Okay, sorry. It's not anything like that. You know, I want to keep you in this space. I will keep working with you. I will keep coaching you until you get to where you need to go. So, you know, I always guarantee my work, and I always guarantee that this is just an amazing, amazing process that will totally blow your mind. And so if you've been struggling with emotional eating for longer than you care to remember, and if you're really, really ready to just take action on this and be done with this and release the pain so that you can focus on other things in your life, I'm sure there's a million other things that you would rather do or that you feel called to do in your life. And this one thing, this emotional eating and the struggle with weight, is the thing that's stopping that. So just imagine, you know, 12 months from now, who will you be after you've released this weight? Who will you be? What are your relationships like? What are you doing for work? You know, how do you look? These are all things that you're stopping yourself from, that you're sabotaging with your weight and with emotional eating, because quite frankly, you're afraid of your power. You're afraid of your power, and you use your weight and your extra food you use your weight and the food to hold yourself back from really stepping into who you were born to be. I believe that to my core. So that's the program. Again, it's thinkandthin.com. Go there, fill out an application. I know these spots are going to fill up really fast, guys. We're going to be taking applications. We're going to be accepting the 11 best people that we think are just going to get the most rapid change. Don't worry about spelling or grammar. It doesn't matter. Just, you know, speak from your heart and, you know, tell us about you. And it doesn't have to be long. You don't have to spend a lot of time with this. All right. So who has some questions for me? Go ahead and raise your hand if you have some questions. I'm going to look at the chat box right here. I'm going to stay on the line. So this is really the end of the program. For those of you that, you know, just came here to get the techniques, awesome. Thank you for being here. If you want to stick around and ask me some questions about the program or before you apply, I will hang out here for a while and answer your questions. So go ahead and just put your hand up. It's a little yellow hand sign there if you have questions for me, or you can type it in the box. Let's see. Are we able to get a tapping script from today? I was so focused at the time. Yeah, I don't have a tapping script for this. This isn't really a tapping script. So we don't have, the script is kind of different for everybody, if that makes sense, Vicki. Let's see. All right, there's some questions coming in. Yes, I do have a payment plan. Thanks, Nan, for asking that. I do have a payment plan, and it doesn't take a big investment all up front. If you do need to break it up and do a couple of payments, that's totally fine as well. I also am going to be teaching a coaching certification on these techniques and this training as well. So if you're interested in learning these techniques so that you can take them into your practice with people and either become certified in the echo tapping process, you will learn how to use echo tapping for all sorts of things, how to use it to achieve more things in your business, how to use it to cure any kind of form of addiction, to use it to really, figure out what is stopping you, to stop sabotaging your success in any area of your life. I love this technique. It works so well for so many different things. Or if you want to become a Watkins Method coach certification, certified in the Watkins Method, you can also fill out that form and just say in the note section or at the very bottom that you're interested in the coaching certification, and we can talk about that too. I have a coaching certification that comes with this. All right, I'm going to look and see if there's anybody hands up. Oh yeah, Cheryl's got her hand up. Hey, Cheryl.
Actually, it's okay. I'm writing you instead.
Oh, you're writing me instead. Okay, cool. Well, while we have you on the line, do you want to just say it out loud, or you don't feel comfortable?
I have many roots that the eating comes from. Like, I know all the memories it goes down to, but I've never been able to change it. And there's so many of them. Will I be able to work on, like, can I clear out all of them?
Yeah, actually, you might not have to clear out all of them. What I find is that we're able to to find the ones that are the most important through this process. So even though you might on paper write down a whole bunch and you're like, oh my God, I have all these traumas, it's not gonna, you won't have to go through all of them. I mean, you do have to do a considerable amount of them and an amount of pushing it away. But what I find usually is that people will use this technique a lot for like 6 months, and then you're kind of done. I mean, some people are done at 4 months or 5 months. Some people are done at 3 months, but they'll use it for a lot of things for this kind of short period of time. And then their emotional eating will pretty much be gone. And if it ever comes back, the only way that your emotional eating can come back after you do this process and this program is that if some major life event happens, like if you get married to a different person, or if you get a new job, or you move to like somewhere totally new, it can come back a little bit, but like you'll know exactly what to do, and then you'll be able to do a process and it'll go away. So I always give the example when I moved to Spain, like my emotional eating has been gone forever, but when I moved to Spain, I found myself drinking a little more than I would. We were living in this apartment, and there was a really cute bar underneath it, and my husband was playing football at the time. And I was like, I'd find myself like down there every night, kind of like drinking more wine than I would. And I realized that I was doing that. And then I did some work around it, and I maybe did like 1 or 2 sessions, and then it was completely gone. It was fine. So that's the way emotional eating works, is that yes, there's a lot of big stuff and big traumas that you have to focus on in the beginning, but those get cleared. And from my experience, they don't come back. So there just might be, if you step into a new experience, there might be some deeper things that were there that we didn't get rid of, but they're never going to be as strong as what they are right now coming up for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that sounds so hopeful, and it does fit what I did with tapping before too.
Yeah, right. Cool.
I got rid of panic. I'm very hopeful.
Good. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing the rapid transformation that we can make with these tools. So awesome. Thanks for being here, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Does anybody else have questions about the program or about what we did today? Let's see. I think I saw another hand up. Did I? No. Okay. Wait, did I? I don't want to miss anybody. No. Okay. Looks fine. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, Nan, I do remember you. So I think you did the program when it was Skinny Jeans before we kind of developed these other tools. So a lot of people ask me what the difference is between Skinny Jeans and the 6-week program and the advanced program. And let me just answer that really quick. The Skinny Jeans program was developed before I knew about these advanced tools. So it's kind of traditional tapping for weight loss. And while it does work for some people, if you have a really strong emotional eating and self-sabotage, it's probably not the best program for you, because it's basically just tapping scripts. And people love tapping scripts, and I do too. But for weight loss, tapping scripts don't work. And if you're here on this call today, you probably realize that. And so there were a lot of transformations and a lot deeper work that I discovered after the first year, actually in that first year, that we now teach in the 6-week program and the advanced program. And the 6-week program is like basically a shortened version of the advanced program. So the 6-week program is taking you through 6 steps and 6 subconscious blocks that keep people stuck. And, some people do really well with that. And other people, like if you have any major trauma in your life, sexual abuse, things like that, you're not going to be able to get to that on your own. And you're going to need more time than just 6 weeks to work with the tools. So I would say if you don't have a whole lot of trauma in your past, the 6-week program is probably a great place to start, but you don't need that to start with the advanced program. The advanced program is for people, they just kind of they want somebody to tell them what the issue is. They're ready to do the work. They're willing to do the tapping, but they don't want to have to find all the issues, or they can't really find the issues themselves. And then obviously the one-on-one coaching is just the thing that makes makes this so much different. You know, having the ability to check in with me, give me your download. Hey, this is what I'm still struggling with. I'm able to say, okay, I want you to do XYZ for the next 2 weeks. It always works. It always helps. It always makes rapid transformation. So, yeah, that's kind of the difference with the skinny jeans, the 6-week program, and the advanced program. So the 6-week program has, you have a Facebook group where you can ask me questions, but you don't have any live interaction with me. And for me, I have a harder time connecting with people and what their issue is without hearing their voice. So that's why we do the live Q&A calls in the advanced program, where we all call up and I can actually hear your voice and connect with you in that way. Cool. Let's see what else. So Julie just said, I finished the Think and Thin program and I'm repeating it because I feel like I'm not done. How's the advanced program different? I think I probably just explained that, Julie, but basically it's a lot more in depth. You know, just like you said, there are things that you can't get to on your own. And, you know, there's even advancements that I've made since I've made the 6-week program to the advanced program that I'm able to take into the advanced program. And because I have that live interaction with my students, like I just finished an NLP training. I don't know if you guys follow me on social media, but I just posted about that. And I took NLP a long time ago, back before I started my business. So I do use a lot of NLP techniques, but I just kind of refresh and I've come up with a lot of new techniques that are kind of even cooler and better. And this is the group this is the first place that I share these techniques with. So I think, you know, with the advanced program, obviously 6 weeks versus 6 months, private coaching, no private coaching. No private coaching, private coaching. You know, obviously there's a big difference. And then, you know, just being able to have access to me. Sometimes I teach 2 new classes and we do like some major shift for, you know, some issue that everybody's having. I found a new technique for it. I recently discovered a couple new techniques that are just totally blowing my mind. And the advanced program are the first group of people that I share those things with. I'm always looking for the most cutting edge healing methods. And I have a tendency to attract them and find them. And so this group of women are the people that I share these techniques with first. So hopefully that explains it. So email, if you want to find out more about weight loss blockers, email support@brittanywatkins.com and ask them for the weight loss blocker training. If you want to apply for the advanced program, go to thinkandthin.com and you can apply to work with me. Cheryl says, you're wonderful. I love how encouraging you are, smart, compassionate. Aw, you're so sweet. And how open you are and aware about sexual abuse and trauma survivors. Thank you so much for today for the help. And I'm so hopeful about this, and I have applied. I struggle financially and I worry I won't be able to afford this, but you're wonderful. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, you know, it definitely is an investment. And like I said, you know, I do have payment programs. I don't charge any interest. I break the payments up into something that's comfortable for you. So if you do want to work more closely and, you know, this is just a must for you, apply anyway. And, you know, we can talk about how it will work out financially for us both. So anyway, I'm so happy that you guys were here, and thank you so much. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.